Hi, I'm Maggie Weldon, owner of MaggiesCrochet.com. I'm very proud to say that MaggiesCrochet.com is now the largest all-crochet site online. We have thousands of crochet patterns and hundreds of them are free. I learned to crochet a long time ago when I was in 4th grade. Nobody in my family knew how to crochet, so I was taught the chain stitch, and I did the chain stitch. I crocheted the whole skein of yarn into just a long row of chains, and I rolled those chains up into a ball. And then it wasn't until a couple years later that I picked up a book and I saw how you could build the stitches off of the chain. So it's really nice to have these videos so that you could learn anything you want to learn, especially in crochet, and it's very exciting. So I'm hoping to teach you through these videos exactly how to do the stitches and the techniques that you've been wondering about or having a hard time with. So pick up your hooks and your yarn and let's get started on some lessons. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a rosebud. And the pattern that I'm going to use is out of the Best of Maggie Weldon Crochet Afghans. And this is a book that's available at MaggiesCrochet.com, and it's all Afghans that I designed. And there are 36 designs in here, and there's a little bit of my life story in there, and there's some beautiful Afghans in here. But the one I'm going to show you is the Rosebud from the Rose Trellis Afghan. And that's the Best of Maggie Weldon Crochet Afghans. Okay, this is the Rosebud that I'm going to show you. This is the actual Rose Trellis Afghan. So I'm going to show you how you would do one of these roses here. And there's also popcorns in here too, and there's a little bit of filet crochet because you have open squares and solid squares in there. So in the rose directions, I start with a slip knot. And I'm going to do this in a much bigger yarn. This was done in worsted weight yarn, but I want to do it in bigger yarn so that you can see it better. So, and I want to switch to a darker hook so that you can see better too. Okay, so I've got a slip knot and it says 2 chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there is the chain 7. I think I'm going to move this a little bit off to the side. And start this new. Okay, this is part of the Rose Trellis Afghan, and it's got some popcorns in there. It's got a little bit of filet crochet because it's got open squares and solid squares. But the rosebud I'm going to show you comes from the Rose Trellis Afghan in the Maggie Weldon Book of Afghans. The Best of Maggie Weldon Afghans, the Leisure Arts book. So I'm going to use a larger yarn so that you can see what I'm doing. And this was done in worsted weight yarn, but I'm using a bulky weight yarn. So in the directions it says to chain 7. So I've done that, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 chains. And then it says 5 single crochet slip stitch in the second chain from hook. So the first chain is right here. That's counted as number 1. So number 2 would be right here. So it's 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then it says slip stitch in the second chain from hook and in each chain across. So I'm going to do the same thing. 5 single crochets, 3, 4, and 5, and a slip stitch. And the way that reads is CH7, and then in parentheses it says 5 SC, which is single crochet, comma, slip stitch, and then it ends the parentheses in second CH from hook and in each CH across. So that's 2. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a slip stitch. I'm going in each chain the same thing. 5 single crochets, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and a slip stitch. See, it's starting to look like a rose already. Okay, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a slip stitch. Now this is my last chain. I'm going to do 1, and I'm only going into the top loop of the chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch in the end. I like the slip stitch in the petals. Each one of these groups becomes a petal of the rose. And I like that because it defines the curve in between. It defines the space between the petals. Okay, then it says finish off, leaving long end, curl into rose shape, and tack to secure. Okay, I want to show you a little thing that I do. I roll this out by curling it into a rose shape. I've got it all on the right side here. I just kind of open up the petals and I see what it would be like to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the outside and let that 1 be on the inside, but that doesn't look like what we have right here. So then if I curl it a little bit more, see, this is totally opened up. This would be nothing in the middle. This is how it would look opened up. It wouldn't look too good. But if I let 1 petal be up at the top, that's how it would look. But let's say I let 2 petals be up in the center like this, and then we have 4 petals on the outside. I think that looks good. Or if you curled it up to have 3 up at the top and 3 at the bottom, I don't think that would look as good because it would just look like a big spiral thing. So I like having the 4 petals out like that. So, and it looks like a rose there. Now if I had one more chain, like a chain 8, I would have just 1 more petal to work with. Right here I have 6 petals to work with because my original chain was 7. But if I had chained 8, I would have 7 petals to work with. But right now in these directions I have 6 petals. So what I do before I finish off is I get the rose exactly where I want it. So I do a little slip stitch in the back right here. Well, I could do it. I'll do it in the back, right behind the slip stitch of the second petal, because I want it joined right there. I want to have 2 petals on the top and I want to have 4 in the back. And that's the way I want it to look right there. So to help me out here, I'm just going to put a slip stitch right here before I finish off. And it doesn't say that in the directions, it's just something I always do. So that way it locks the rosebud in place, and it's always going to look like that. It's not going to come undone or anything. So then you would, I always like the yarn is going from here back, so I cut in the back. And you may want an even longer end here because you're going to have to sew this rosebud to the afghan. So you may want to go underneath your hand here and cut back here. So that's probably what I would do there. So then you pull this out, and then you could also come back here and use this end or this end to tack that a little bit more, the rosebud in place, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, to tack the rosebud in place, you would get a yarn needle. I always fold it over the side of the eye of the needle, and then I hold that folded part real tight, and then I push the folded part through the eye of the needle. And then I come back here and I figure out where I need to tack this. So it's kind of loose right here, so I'm going to go, I want to tack it over on this side. So I would just come in through the back here and go over to that side that I want to tack and go up that side through the back of the, between the petals over there, and then bring that back up through here. And just do a little stitch to secure that over there. See, now you're going to have that in place, and I'm going to go over that one time. So that side's secure now, and then you may want to come up through the center of your rosebud and just secure the center in place. If I can get my needle to come up there. There. You might want to come up through the center and just grab a little strand and go back down through the center, so your rosebud stays in place, like that. So there's a rosebud, and then you could leave the ends and you could attach them to the afghan by bringing the ends through to the back side. I would take this out, and I would take this and bring it to the back, and then bring the other strand at a different location back through there. If you had leaves, you'd put your leaves underneath here, and then tie this in a knot, and then sew in your ends at the back side. But that's how you do a curled rose. That's how you make rosebuds, and they're done in different ways. Sometimes you have taller stitches than singles. You might have half doubles or double crochet stitches in your to work in your chains to make wider petals. But that's basically how you make them, and they're fairly easy to do once you know how to do them. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions for other videos, we'd love to hear from you at videos@maggiescrochet.com. And thank you very much for watching.